The gleaming International Space Station rotated slowly against the backdrop of Earth's blue sphere. Inside, Tom Walker wiped his sweaty palms on his uniform for the 100th time. As Earth's first diplomatic chef, he had cooked for presidents and kings, but today's dinner would make or break humanity's first impression on the Galactic Federation. "They're docking now, sir," his assistant Mike reported, peering through the observation window. The alien ship looked like a giant silver teardrop, smoothly connecting to the station's newest addition, the Universal Docking Port. Tom gave one last look at his carefully prepared welcome feast. The table held what he considered the safest choices: grilled chicken, steamed vegetables, fresh bread, and a light soup. Nothing too spicy, nothing too exotic. Just simple, well-cooked Earth food. The airlock cycled, and 3 aliens entered the dining module. They walked on 2 legs like humans, but had smooth, pale blue skin and large, dark eyes. Their ambassador, who had introduced himself as first speaker Ray in their earlier communications, led the group. "Welcome to Earth's International Space Station," Tom said, bowing slightly. "I'm honored to serve as your host for this evening's meal." Ray's translator device hummed softly. "We are pleased to join you, Chef Walker. Though we must admit, we are curious about your—" The alien's eyes darted to the table. "Customs. Please, have a seat." Tom gestured to the specially designed chairs that could accommodate various alien body types. "I've prepared some traditional Earth dishes that I hope you'll find interesting." The aliens sat down, their movements graceful despite the zero-gravity environment. Tom noticed they carried no eating utensils of their own, so he demonstrated how to use the magnetically anchored plates and special space-adapted cutlery. "Now then," Tom said, ladling the clear chicken soup into bowls. "Let's begin with a simple—" He was cut off by a sharp gasp from all 3 aliens. Ray's translator crackled with distress signals. "Ambassador Walker," Ray said, his large eyes growing even wider. "Is that processed organic matter in a heated liquid suspension?" Tom blinked. "You mean the soup?" "Yes, it's chicken broth with vegetables and—" "You apply thermal energy to your nutrients?" The second alien, a scientist named Green, asked. His translator couldn't quite hide the horror in his voice. "Well, yes," Tom replied carefully. "We call it cooking. It's how we prepare most of our food." The third alien, Purple, was frantically operating a small device. Scanning shows temperatures far above standard consumption levels. "Ambassador Walker, are you attempting to destroy these organic compounds?" Tom realized this might be more complicated than he'd expected. "Not destroy, just cook. It makes the food safer to eat and brings out the flavors." "Flavors?" Ray asked, the translator struggling with the concept. "You modify molecular structures for sensory pleasure and safety," Tom added quickly. "Cooking kills harmful bacteria and makes many foods easier to digest." The aliens huddled together, speaking rapidly in their own language. Their translators caught fragments like deliberate molecular destruction and thermal manipulation of nutrients. When they turned back, Ray spoke formally. "Ambassador Walker, we mean no offense, but we must ask, does your species regularly consume thermally modified organic matter?" "Yes," Tom said. "Pretty much every day." The alien's skin turned a lighter shade of blue. "And these," Ray pointed to the grilled chicken, "these are muscle tissues exposed directly to heat." "That's right. It's one of our simpler cooking methods." More hurried alien discussion followed. Tom caught words like remarkable resilience and digestive capabilities unprecedented. Finally, Ray addressed him again. "Ambassador Walker, we must modify our initial diplomatic approach. Any species capable of routinely consuming thermally altered organic compounds clearly possesses unique biological characteristics we had not anticipated." Tom wasn't sure if this was a good thing or not. "Would you like to try some soup?" he offered hopefully. The aliens declined as politely as their translators allowed. Instead, they spent the next hour documenting every dish with their scanning devices and asking increasingly detailed questions about human cooking methods. As they left, Tom heard Ray telling his companions, "Update the species report immediately. Any race that deliberately heats their nutrients before consumption must be approached with extreme caution and respect." Tom stood in the empty dining room, looking at the untouched feast. First contact hadn't gone quite as planned, but at least they seemed impressed, even if it was for completely unexpected reasons. He picked up a spoon and tasted the soup. It was perfect, even if the aliens couldn't appreciate it. "Well," he said to himself, "I guess we've given them something to think about." #aliens shocked by human eating habits. #Part 2. The cultural attaché. Dr. Blue stared at his data pad in disbelief. After 1 week of observing human eating habits, he still couldn't make sense of his findings. As the Galactic Federation's top food anthropologist, he had studied eating customs across 17 different species. But humans, they'd broke every rule he knew. Recording day 8 of human dietary observation, he spoke into his device. Subject Tom Walker has already consumed 3 separate meals today, and it's only what they call afternoon. He watched as Tom walked into the space station's cafeteria for what humans called a snack. The observation had started after the disastrous first contact dinner, when the Federation decided they needed to understand human eating habits better. "Excuse me, Tom." Dr. Blue floated over to the humans' table. "You just ate 2 Earth hours ago. Why are you consuming more nutrients?" Tom looked up from his yogurt cup. "Just a little hungry. Want to try some?" Dr. Blue scanned the container with his analyzing tool. His eye spots widened in alarm. This is deliberately spoiled milk product. My scanner shows active bacteria colonies." "That's right," Tom said, taking another spoonful. "We call it yogurt. The bacteria make it good for digestion." Dr. Blue's skin shifted to a pale blue-gray, a sign of distress in his species. "You intentionally consume infected food products." "Not infected," Tom explained patiently. "Fermented. Like cheese, kimchi, sauerkraut. Lots of our foods use controlled fermentation." Dr. Blue's fingers flew across his datapad. "Attention Central Committee. Humans deliberately cultivate bacterial colonies in their food. They claim this improves digestive functions. Request immediate update to species threat assessment." Tom watched the aliens' growing panic with amusement. "Would you like to see our kitchen? It might help you understand better." The alien scientist hesitated but nodded. His mission was to understand, no matter how disturbing the findings might be. In the station's kitchen, the chef was preparing dinner. Dr. Blue watched in fascination as raw ingredients were transformed through various processes. "Why do they strike the protein mass with that metal tool?" he whispered to Tom, watching the chef tenderize a steak. "To make it softer and tastier," Tom explained. "You physically assault your food before thermal processing." Dr. Blue made another note. "Fascinating and terrifying." Then the chef opened a cabinet filled with spices. Dr. Blue's scanner went wild. "Warning!" His device screamed. Detected multiple toxic plant compounds. Capsaicin, piperine, allicin. "Those are just spices," Tom said. "They make food taste better. You deliberately add toxic plant defense chemicals to your food. For pleasure." Dr. Blue's translation device crackled with disbelief. Before Tom could answer, the chef opened the refrigerator. Dr. Blue's scanner detected dozens of different food items, all at various stages of what he considered decay. "This blue circular object," Dr. Blue pointed at a container. "My scanner says it's a dairy product colonized by penicillium bacteria." "That's blue cheese," Tom said. "It's delicious." Dr. Blue made an urgent recording. Humans intentionally consume dairy products infected with the same fungi they use as medicine. The implications are staggering. The chef began chopping onions, and Dr. Blue's scanner went off again. "The human is releasing chemical irritants into the air, but They're crying and continuing to prepare the food. Yeah, onions do that. Tom shrugged. Worth it though. By the end of the kitchen tour, Dr. Blue had filled 3 data pads with notes. He watched humans casually handle foods at different temperatures, mix seemingly incompatible ingredients, and willingly expose themselves to various chemical compounds that would send any sensible species running for safety. Back in his quarters, Dr. Blue prepared his daily report to the Federation. Humans don't just endure toxic, bacterial, and chemically active foods. They seek them out. They have turned the simple act of nutrient consumption into an art form that defies conventional biological understanding. Most alarming of all, they appear to genuinely enjoy it. Recommend immediate classification of humans as an extreme culinary species. Further study is essential, though it may require stronger nerves than I possess. He glanced at the yogurt cup Tom had given him. After a long moment, he picked up a spoon. For science, he told himself. For science. Dr. Blue had thought he was prepared for anything after 2 weeks of studying human eating habits. He was wrong. Very wrong. This is a restaurant, he asked Tom, floating through the newly opened entertainment module of the space station. The Federation had helped build this section to let humans maintain their Earth-like routines. Yep, we've got 5 different ones up here now, Tom said proudly. This one's my favorite. They serve Indian food. Dr. Blue checked his translator to make sure it hadn't malfunctioned. You need multiple food preparation facilities. One is not sufficient. Different restaurants serve different types of food, Tom explained as they entered. The smell of spices hit Dr. Blue's sensitive nose sensors immediately, making his environmental suit kick into emergency filtration mode. Warning. Atmospheric contamination detected, his suit announced. That's just the curry, Tom laughed. Wait till you see what I'm going to order. They sat at a specially designed table that accommodated both human and alien anatomies. A waiter approached with menus, and Dr. Blue noticed small red symbols next to many items. What do these red indicators mean? He asked, scanning them with his device. Those show how spicy the food is, Tom explained. 1 chili is mild, 5 chilies is super hot. Dr. Blue's translator struggled with the concept. You rank foods by their level of pain induction. Sort of. Some people love really spicy food. Tom turned to the waiter. I'll have the vindaloo, extra hot please. 5 chilies. Dr. Blue's scanner nearly short-circuited. Subject Tom Walker has just requested maximum pain levels in his nutrient delivery. Requesting immediate medical intervention. No, Tom held up his hands. It's fine. This is normal. Some humans enjoy spicy food. The burn is part of the experience. The alien scientist watched in horror as the waiter brought Tom's food. His scanners detected capsaicin levels that would be considered a chemical weapon on some planets. Beginning recording, Dr. Blue spoke into his device. Human subject is voluntarily consuming substances that trigger pain receptors, showing signs of physical distress, increased perspiration, elevated heart rate, facial redness, yet continues eating. Claims to be enjoying the experience. Tom wiped his forehead with a napkin, his face flushed. Want to try a tiny bit? My species processes all external stimuli at 10 times the intensity of humans, Dr. Blue reminded him, backing away slightly. That would be lethal for me. As they sat there, more humans entered the restaurant. Dr. Blue watched in amazement as they casually ordered dishes that his scanner insisted were borderline toxic. Note for further research, he recorded. Humans appear to have developed a cultural practice of deliberately consuming pain-inducing substances for recreation. They gather in specialized facilities for this purpose. Some even compete to endure higher levels of oral distress. A group at the next table was having what they called a spicy food challenge. Dr. Blue's environmental suit kept beeping warning signals as the capsaicin levels in the air rose. Most fascinating, he recorded, they appear to gain social status by demonstrating their ability to withstand higher levels of food-based pain. The human consuming the spiciest substance is receiving encouragement and praise from their peers. Tom finished his vindaloo, his face still red but wearing a satisfied smile. "That was great," he said. "Nothing like a good curry to clear the sinuses." Dr. Blue added a final note to his daily report. Update to Galactic Federation. Human pain tolerance must be drastically revised upward. They have transformed the consumption of defensive plant toxins into a social activity. Most concerning of all, they appear to have developed a cultural immunity to substances that would incapacitate most known species. As they left the restaurant, Dr. Blue noticed something extraordinary. Tom was already talking about what to eat next time. Perhaps, he recorded privately, this explains their rapid expansion into space. Any species that can turn pain into pleasure, poison into seasoning, and survival into a social activity must be remarkably adaptable. Note to self: request hazard pay for remainder of this assignment. The scientist glanced back at the restaurant, where more humans were happily eating their pain-inducing meals. His respect for these strange creatures grew, even as his concern for their sanity deepened. "At least," he muttered to himself, "they haven't shown me what they call dessert yet." The Galactic Federation's science vessel Truth Seeker arrived at the space station with a mission that would have seemed ridiculous just a month ago: to study human digestion. Dr. Blue watched as the team of alien scientists set up their laboratory, led by the renowned xenobiologist Dr. Green. "These readings can't be correct," Dr. Green said, staring at the holographic display of human digestive capabilities. "No species should be able to process this many different types of organic matter." Tom sat patiently in the examination room, surrounded by scanning equipment. He had volunteered to be their primary test subject, though he was starting to regret it as the questions got stranger. "Subject Walker," Dr. Green began, "our scans show that in the past week, you have consumed matter from—" He checked his readings again: 37 different species of plants and 6 different species of animals. "Sounds about right," Tom shrugged. "Had a salad for lunch, chicken stir-fry for dinner, beef the day before." The team of scientists burst into frantic discussion, their translators struggling to keep up with their technical terms. "Impossible," one scientist exclaimed. "They consume both plants and animals in the same feeding cycle." "Not just that," Dr. Blue added, checking his notes. "They often consume them in the same meal." Dr. Green turned back to Tom. "And these digestive enzymes, you can break down both cellulose and the protein structures without any genetic modification." "We're omnivores," Tom explained. "Been that way since, well, forever." The scientific team huddled around their displays, comparing human digestive capabilities with other known species. The results were shocking. "Look at these adaptation rates." Dr. Green pointed at a chart. "They can adjust to new food sources within days. Most species take generations to safely incorporate a single new nutrient source." Another scientist, Dr. Purple, was reviewing historical data. According to their records, humans have survived on everything from pure meat diets in their Arctic regions to completely plant-based diets in their tropics. Some even survive on insects as primary protein sources, and the mutations required for these adaptations. Dr. Green asked. "That's the extraordinary part," Dr. Purple replied. "No mutations. Their digestive system comes pre-equipped to handle almost anything organic. It's as if they evolved to eat everything." Tom watched with growing amusement as the scientists became more excited with each new discovery. They were particularly fascinated by the human stomach's ability to handle what they called biological warfare agents, better known to humans as spices and seasonings. "Subject Walker," Dr. Green approached with another scanner. "We found traces of a substance called hot sauce in your system. Our analysis suggests it contains enough capsaicin to stun a medium-sized predator." "Oh yeah, I put that on my eggs this morning," Tom said. "Gives them a nice kick." The scientists' skin colors changed rapidly, their equivalent of a shocked gasp. "They weaponized their breakfast," one whispered in horror. Dr. Blue, now more accustomed to human eating habits, added his observations. They also deliberately consume beneficial bacteria, fermented matter, and even certain toxic fungi in controlled amounts. Their bodies don't just tolerate these substances, they thrive on them. Dr. Green compiled the day's findings into his report. Human digestive capabilities exceed all known parameters. They can process multiple food types simultaneously, adapt to new food sources rapidly, and even derive pleasure from substances most species classify as defensive toxins. Most remarkably, they achieve this without any apparent technological or genetic enhancement. The team watched as Tom casually ate a sandwich during their lunch break, a combination of plant and animal products, seasoned with various chemicals, all wrapped in processed grain. Perhaps, Dr. Green said quietly to his colleagues, we should be grateful they're friendly. Any species that can eat almost anything would be impossible to starve out in a conflict. Dr. Blue nodded, remembering his own shock at first encountering human eating habits. They don't just survive, he added. They've turned their digestive adaptability into an art form. They call it cuisine. As the scientists continued their studies, Tom finished his sandwich and pulled out a chocolate bar for dessert. The room's monitoring equipment immediately began beeping warnings about theobromine levels. Oh, Tom grinned at the worried scientists. Wait until I tell you about coffee. The morning alarm hadn't even sounded on the space station when Dr. Blue noticed a strange pattern. Humans were already gathering in the dining area, forming a line in front of a machine that filled the air with a strong aroma. Beginning emergency observation, he recorded. Humans appear to be participating in some form of early morning ritual involving a dark liquid substance. Tom spotted the alien scientist and waved him over. Morning, Dr. Blue. Want to learn about coffee? Dr. Blue approached cautiously, his sensors already warning him about numerous chemical compounds in the air. This coffee appears to be causing unusual behavior. Several humans seem irritable while waiting in line. Yeah, most of us aren't really awake until we've had our first cup, Tom said, clutching his steaming mug. Want to scan it? Dr. Blue pointed his analyzer at Tom's drink. The device immediately started flashing red warnings. Alert. Alert. Detected high levels of caffeine, theobromine, and multiple psychoactive compounds. Subject is willingly consuming a potent nerve stimulant. That's the point. Tom took a long sip. Helps us wake up and focus. Dr. Green and his scientific team rushed in, having received the alert. They watched in horror as human after human consumed the dark liquid, some even coming back for second and third servings. Recording observation. Dr. Green spoke rapidly into his device. Humans deliberately ingest stimulants as part of their daily routine. They appear to have developed both psychological and physical dependencies on these substances. The scientists' horror grew as they watched the station's coffee drinking competition unfold, a monthly event where participants tried to drink the most espresso shots in an hour. They're competing to see who can consume the most stimulants. Dr. Purple's translator crackled with disbelief. Is this some form of ritual combat? Nah, said Mike, the station's engineer, downing his fifth espresso. Just Tuesday. Dr. Blue's scanner was working overtime, recording the physiological changes in the competing humans. Elevated heart rates, increased neural activity, heightened alertness. Most fascinating, he noted. They've transformed a defense chemical meant to paralyze insects into a recreational beverage. Some are even adding sweeteners and milk proteins to make it more palatable. The scientists watched as humans customized their drinks, some adding what they called extra shots, others mixing in various syrups and creams. Look at this data. Dr. Green showed his colleagues a chart. The caffeine content they regularly consume would be lethal to 80% of known sentient species, yet they drink it for pleasure and productivity, Tom added, finishing his third cup. Helps us work better. Dr. Purple made an urgent addition to his report. Humans have weaponized their productivity through controlled stimulant use. They can artificially extend their active periods and enhance their cognitive functions using these beverages. The situation reached its peak when someone brought out something called Death Wish coffee, apparently the strongest coffee available in human space. They named it after death. Dr. Blue's skin turned pale. And they still choose to drink it. Oh yeah, Tom grinned. That's actually a selling point. The scientific team huddled together, updating their species threat assessment. Any species that casually consumed nerve toxins for breakfast needed serious reconsideration. Dr. Blue made his final notes for the day. Humans have not only developed immunity to multiple natural toxins, but they have learned to harness these compounds for their benefit. They casually consume substances that would be classified as biological weapons on most worlds, and they have incorporated this into their daily routine. Most disturbing of all, they appear to enjoy the effects and actively seek stronger versions. He watched as the coffee competition concluded, the humans buzzing with energy and planning their next coffee break. Perhaps most remarkable, he added to his notes, is their ability to transform almost anything, even toxic defenses, into a source of pleasure and social bonding. They don't just survive these substances, they celebrate them. Tom approached with a small cup. Hey, Dr. Blue, want to try a tiny sip of decaf? It's coffee with most of the caffeine removed. Dr. Blue's environmental suit immediately initiated its emergency protocol sequence. For science, Tom grinned. Dr. Blue looked at his readings, then at the cup, then at his readings again. For science, he agreed reluctantly, wondering if he should update his hazard insurance first. The emergency alarms on the International Space Station blared without warning. A micrometeorite had struck the main food storage module, destroying most of the station's supplies. As the dust settled, both humans and aliens gathered in the main conference room to assess the situation. Status report, Station Commander Bill said, looking at the damage assessment on his tablet. It's not good, Mike replied, checking the inventory. We've lost 90% of our human food supplies. The alien food storage was also hit. Dr. Blue and the science team exchanged worried looks. Their species could only digest very specific nutrient solutions. The loss of their supplies was a serious concern. Emergency supplies, Commander Bill asked. We have some, Tom answered, but they're designed for different species. Most of what's left is emergency rations for the Centaurians, some Proxima protein packs, and a few boxes of Arcturus nutrition cubes. The aliens looked horrified. You cannot consume those. Dr. Green's translator crackled with concern. Each species requires specifically engineered nutrition. Consuming food designed for another species could be fatal. Commander Bill looked at the remaining supplies. Tom, what do you think? Tom picked up one of the alien ration packs and read its composition. Well, it's all organic matter. Different proteins, carbs, some minerals. I don't see anything actively toxic. We might not enjoy it, but we can probably eat it. The aliens watched in shock as Tom opened a Centaurian emergency ration, a gray cube that smelled like old socks. You cannot be serious, Dr. Purple said. That was designed for a species with 3 stomachs and copper-based blood. Tom took a bite and chewed thoughtfully. Tastes a bit like blue cheese crossed with seaweed. He swallowed. Yeah, this'll work. Not great, but it'll keep us alive until supplies arrive. The human crew members started sorting through the alien rations, testing small bits of each type to ensure they were safe. They discovered that Proxima protein packs tasted surprisingly like spicy tuna, while Arcturus nutrition cubes reminded them of very dry crackers. Dr. Blue frantically recorded everything. Incredible. Humans are consuming emergency rations designed for 6 different species. Their digestive systems are actually processing these foreign nutrients with minimal distress. This contradicts everything we know about xenobiology. The humans organized the remaining supplies, creating a rotation system of different alien rations to ensure they got diverse nutrients. They even started experimenting with mixing different types to improve the taste. Look at this. Dr. Green showed his colleagues some scans. Their bodies are actually adapting to process these foreign nutrients more efficiently with each meal. The rate of adaptation is unprecedented. Tom had already started a spreadsheet rating the different alien foods and suggesting combinations. The Proxima packs aren't bad if you mix them with the Arcturus cubes. Gives it a better texture. They're treating this survival situation like a culinary experiment, Dr. Purple observed with amazement. Instead of panicking about foreign substances, they're creating new recipes. A week later, when the emergency supplies finally arrived, the scientists were astounded to find all the humans not just alive, but perfectly healthy. They had survived on food never intended for their species, and some had even developed preferences for certain alien rations. Dr. Blue's final report on the incident read, "The emergency has revealed perhaps the most remarkable aspect of human digestive capabilities. Not only can they survive on almost any organic matter, but they actively adapt and find ways to enjoy it. While other species would have faced severe health issues or death from consuming foreign nutrients, humans treated it as an opportunity for culinary exploration." As the new supplies were being unloaded, Tom was actually looking disappointed. "You know," he said to Dr. Blue, "those Proxima protein packs weren't half bad. Think we could keep some around. They'd make great camping food." Dr. Blue's skin turned a pale shade of disbelief as he added one final note. "Most concerning of all, they want to keep eating the emergency rations voluntarily. These humans truly have no dietary limitations we can detect. Perhaps they really can eat anything." Tom grinned at the stunned aliens. "Hey, who's hungry? I figured out how to make a pretty decent sandwich using 3 different species emergency rations." The Grand Hall of the Galactic Federation buzzed with excitement. After 3 months of studying human eating habits, the scientific team was ready to present their findings. The massive holographic screen showed images of humans consuming everything from ice cream to ghost peppers. Dr. Blue stood at the podium, his skin shifting through nervous shades of blue as he faced the Federation Council. Dr. Green and Dr. Purple sat nearby, their data pads full of extraordinary observations. "Distinguished council members," Dr. Blue began, "we must completely revise our understanding of human capabilities. What we initially mistook for barbaric food practices are actually signs of remarkable adaptation." The screens displayed clips of humans eating various foods. The council members watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as scenes of cooking, spice-eating contests, and coffee drinking played out. "Humans are what we now classify as extreme omnivores," Dr. Green added, stepping forward. "They can safely consume substances that would be lethal to most species. They don't just survive these substances, they enjoy them." The council murmured as data charts appeared, showing human digestive capabilities compared to other species. "Look at these adaptation rates," Dr. Purple pointed out. "Humans can safely incorporate new food sources within days, not generations. During our emergency ration test, they successfully digested food designed for 6 different species." An older council member raised an appendage. "Are you suggesting they could survive on any member world?" "Not just survive," Dr. Blue replied. "They would probably create new recipes using local ingredients. They call it fusion cuisine." The presentation continued with more shocking revelations. The council learned about human practices like fermentation, the deliberate cultivation of specific bacteria for cheese, and the casual consumption of stimulants like caffeine. Most remarkably, Dr. Blue concluded, humans have transformed survival into an art form. They don't just eat to live, they live to eat. They have ceremonies, celebrations, and entire cultural practices built around food consumption. Back on the space station, Tom and the human crew watched the presentation via video link, sharing a pizza. Another food concept that had baffled the aliens with its combination of ingredients. The council chambers erupted in discussion. Some members were concerned about human capabilities, while others saw incredible potential. "Think of the possibilities," one council member said. A species that can eat almost anything would be invaluable for space exploration and colonization. And emergency response, another added. They could survive where other species would starve. Dr. Blue shared one final piece of data. Humans have even turned their broad dietary capabilities into a form of social bonding. They call it trying new foods. They actively seek out unfamiliar substances to consume, simply out of curiosity. The Council reached their decision quickly. Humans would be classified as a Class A adaptive species, with special note of their unique dietary capabilities. Trade agreements were immediately proposed for human cooking techniques and food preservation methods. As the presentation concluded, Dr. Blue made his way to the station's new restaurant, where Tom waited with a surprise. "Since you've been such a good sport studying our eating habits," Tom said, "I had the kitchen prepare something special. It's called ice cream." Dr. Blue looked at the frozen dessert, his scanners already warning him about the sugar content. But after 3 months of studying humans, he had learned something important. Sometimes, the warning signals were worth ignoring. "You know," he said, taking a careful bite of vanilla ice cream, "I think I finally understand why humans enjoy eating so much." Tom grinned. "Wait until you try chocolate." In his final report to the Federation, Dr. Blue wrote, "Humans have not just mastered their environment through technology or strength, but through an incredible ability to adapt and thrive on almost anything their worlds can provide." Their eating habits, which once seemed bizarre and frightening, are actually their greatest strength. They have turned basic survival into an art form, a social activity, and a way to bring different species together. He looked at the empty ice cream bowl and added one last note. "And sometimes, their strange food choices are surprisingly delicious. Requesting permission to extend my research assignment. There's something called barbecue that I simply must investigate. For science, of course."